I wanted to show you how I propagate in water some houseplants. My favorite to do this with is Pothos. This is probably Silver Queen Pothos. And I found this technique works really well. And maybe say if your pothos have lost some leaves and you've got some bare spots in the stems, this is a great way. You can see like here was a bare spot and I just cut it, and then it actually makes the plant grow new leaves from the top of the plant and also where you've cut it off. Like probably here you can see I probably cut this at some point, and you can see it's branched off where it would have made now 2 new branches at some point. But what I do is I cut off the kind of mother plant, and then what I do is that there's these little nodules here, and that's actually where you can see one here where the roots would be coming out of. So I cut just above the leaf and just below, or just on top of where another nodule would be. So then you have a cutting just like this. Here's the nodule, that's where the new root will come from. And you've got a nice leaf, part of the new cutting. Okay, so then I'm just going to go down the plant and see I'm cutting right above the leaf. And some of these were missing leaves. So I just go along, cut as many there is on. Then you get down to this one where it's got this new growth, a leaf, and actually I see a little nodule where the root's gonna come, so I'm just gonna cut it there, and then you've got this again with the leaf and a new growth, and I'm just going to cut it there. And then what I do is I find a shallow jar. This one is probably 2.5 inches, and then I find this a piece of scrap plastic that's going to fit nicely over the jar like this. Take a rubber band, secure it to the jar, make sure that it's nice and tight and taut here on the top. And I'm not sure exactly where I got this from, but I've been propagating in water. It's actually my favorite. Some plants don't do well in water and some do. You can look it up. I know pothos do really well. And then what I do is I just poke a slit, and I will carefully, like this one kind of has a large little knob, so I carefully put that in, and then make sure that the knob is under. And I actually make the slits really close to each other. That way I can get as many as possible in here. And I find by doing this, you can control how far they go in. You can control the moisture so it doesn't dry out as fast. And it's been working really well. Now it has been kind of springtime here. I have done this in the wintertime too. So, like all plants, they grow a little bit more at certain times of the year. Springtime is still a good time for the house plants. So I just go along, make a little slit, carefully put them through. Make sure you don't cut any of the other plants. And as you notice, I didn't fill this jar up with water. I will actually do that afterwards. Carefully, I'll show you how I do that. And make sure that all the little nodules that the roots are going to come are down in there. And then I'm just going to go back around and pull the plastic nice and tight. And then this is kind of how it looks. It's really tight in there. You know, I've made sure that all the little nodules are in under the plastic. And then I'll show you how I fill it with water. Okay, so I'm just going to get a dish so if there's any spillage. And then I just get in there and I kind of push the leaves to a side a little bit. And then, as you see, the water was too fast. I just carefully kind of trying to find a hole and slowly fill it up. And then pull the plastic taut. Now, I will come and check on this every few days, and it doesn't seem to really matter that, especially in the beginning, that the little nodule is in the water. It's best if it was, but I think because of the plastic, it holds the moisture in, that it will encourage the nodules to root up. And then once it starts to root up, the roots grow so fast. And I will just set this in a bright location, not like directly in the sun, indirectly by the window. And, you know, within, I check it every few days, and within 4 weeks, you'll definitely have some nice, beautiful roots on there. And if you find that their stems are getting wet or mushy, I would really pull those out. Or if one has dried up for some reason, it didn't make it in the water, you can pull it out, or you can just leave it. Usually I just leave it like this, and I'll check it every few days, add some water to it. And then once I notice that there's nice roots on most of them, I will pot them up. Once you see that there is nice roots, you can just take the rubber band off and take it out of the dish, and then carefully pull the plastic away. This one I already kind of did, so it's just already coming apart. But you just carefully tear the plastic and gently hold the plants, and then you can see how well these have gotten roots. And they've probably only been in this water about a month. And these are the Swiss cheese, which actually I've never gotten to root before. But since I've been doing this way, I was like, oh, let me try this. It's also, I started early spring, which might have something to do with it. Well, then once you've taken them all apart, okay, so then the next step is to put it in some soil. So I just have a 4-inch pot here, and I have it almost full. say you want to put another 1/2 inch of soil in the pot, I make sure that I use a nice good quality potting mix and it's nice and loose. And then I just set the little cuttings all around. I like to spread them out. And actually the ones that are like this and their little stem is straight down, it makes it a little bit easier, but not all of them are like that. So I just kind of arrange them. And you want to pack, I would actually say I could have used 2 or 3 more little cuttings in that one, but that's all I have. This is the Swiss cheese, and I've actually never been able to get them to root. So I was, when I've been doing it this way, I was like, well, let me try these. It's also early spring when I tried it. That might have something to do with it. So then I just take a handful of soil and I make sure that all the roots are covered, and then I will kind of arrange them and make sure that they're all kind of spread out, that all their roots are covered. And the plants that you propagate in water, they don't seem to mind if their roots or their stems are a little covered. So I just kind of push the soil around. Once I make sure the roots are covered, then I go around and I push the soil around to make sure that there's no air pockets, that they're all kind of standing up nicely, and arrange them in the pot. Like I said, you want to make these little pots as full as possible. That's what they do at the nurseries. You know, even though these guys have roots, they might not all survive. So you want to put as many little cuttings as you can. And you can always separate them again when you pot up the pot or the plant again. You can separate them. But I just rearrange them. I don't like them too close to the edge. I try to get them a little bit away from the edge. And then I will give this a really good soaking. And I will push the soil around. Well, thank you very much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, remember to subscribe and push that bell so you can get notified when I have new videos out. Thank you.